You've seen it happen. Someone like Ben Shapiro walks into a debate, and within minutes, the other person is flustered, backpedaling, or just completely silent. And you think, or how does he do that? Is it confidence? Intelligence? Or just speed? The answer is simpler than you think. And no, you don't need a law degree. You don't need to be the loudest person in the room. You just need to understand how arguments actually work. Because most people argue wrong. They lead with emotion, they go off topic, and they confuse being passionate with being persuasive. Here are the 4 things that will help you win almost every argument. Starting today. 1. Know your position better than they know theirs. Most arguments are lost before they even begin. Not because someone is outmatched, but because they're underprepared. Before you open your mouth, ask yourself, what exactly am I claiming? What's the strongest evidence for it? And what's the best argument against my own position? That last one is the secret weapon. If you can identify the weakest part of your own argument before your opponent does, you can address it first, or quietly avoid it. Either way, you stay in control. Preparation isn't just for debates. It works in meetings, confrontations, negotiations. Anywhere someone is going to push back on you. 2. Separate the claim from the person. This is where most people lose. They hear something they disagree with, and immediately they attack the person saying it. Their tone, their background, their motives. That's not an argument. That's a distraction. The strongest move you can make is to engage the idea directly. Because when you attack someone personally, 2 things happen. First, it looks like you can't actually refute what they said. Second, it makes you look emotional and reactive, which automatically puts the other person in a position of calm authority. Attack the argument, not the person, every time. 3. Ask more than you assert. This is counterintuitive. Most people think winning an argument means talking more, speaking faster, making bigger claims. But questions are more powerful than statements. When you ask someone to explain their position, why do you believe that? What evidence supports that? What would change your mind? Something interesting happens. Either they give you a weak answer and their argument starts to collapse on its own, or they go quiet because they realize they don't actually have a strong foundation for what they just said. You don't always need to prove them wrong. Sometimes you just need to ask the right question and let them prove themselves wrong. 4. Control your composure, especially when it's hard. When an argument gets intense, emotions spike, voice rises, logic goes out the window. And the person who stays calm almost always wins, not because they're right, but because they appear more credible. Composure signals confidence, and confidence signals that you have nothing to fear from the conversation, that you're not threatened, that you know your ground. If someone raises their voice, lower yours. If someone gets personal, stay on topic. If someone says something outrageous, pause before you respond. That pause alone, a deliberate, unhurried silence, can be more devastating than anything you could say. Now, a word of honesty. None of this guarantees you'll win every argument. Some people aren't arguing to find truth. They're arguing to feel right. And no technique beats someone who refuses to listen. But here's what these 4 things will do. They'll make you clearer, calmer, and more credible. People will take you seriously. And even when you don't win the room, you'll often win the respect. Because the goal of a great argument isn't to destroy someone. It's to be the person in the room who actually knows what they're talking about. And that's always worth the effort.